I like to suffer. Let me explain. My first start into the game of Magic the Gathering was in 7th edition, which was released around 2001. But it wasn't until I took a break and then came back during Avacyn Restored for my first pre-release, and that is when I got introduced into the more competitive aspects of Magic the Gathering. But shortly after that, I started learning about the format Commander, where I built my very first Commander deck with cards that I collected over the years, and all of a sudden, all these cards I had a new home. So when I started piloting my first build, I thought it would perform very poorly, but I ended up winning that first game I ever played. Ever since then, I was hooked, and I was always looking for ways to improve my decks and make it more streamlined and more powerful, which had me going down a route of playing all the powerful spells that I could get my hands on, and doing some of the most busted things that one can do in a game of Commander. But then that just led to a problem with a lot of my decks over time. I soon found that I kept putting the same cards in the same slots for a lot of decks just so that it could perform well, and I had a bunch of these copies, by the way. I had like 8 copies of these, to the point where every deck was just do the same thing but just a different flavor. Soon I started getting bored and a little bit burnt out of the format. But I remember there was always a debate of whether Magic was a game of pay to win. The question was whether a person who spent the most on the game was most likely to win. And while more expensive cards do tend to be more powerful, I didn't think it was necessarily true that whoever spent the most money on a deck would be most likely to win. So I made my very first budget deck. I believe it was like $25, maybe it was $20 at the time. While it probably wasn't at the level of a CEDH deck, it was still really powerful. And it performed pretty well, but then that's when I realized something about the way that I like to build decks. I realized that being put forward a challenge and being able to pull it off is really rewarding for me. And while I wasn't there at the very start of this format, I've been here for a while and I've seen a lot of things and done a lot of things. So in order for me to continue enjoying this game, I have to set restrictions for myself. I'm someone that sticks really close to my values to a point where it's kind of annoying. Sure, I could just ignore any restrictions and just build the most powerful busted deck, but I've already done all of that stuff before. I've seen it all. But a mono blue Aragorn the Uniter deck that uses mind bend effects to make every color word on that card say blue, that's something that I haven't seen before. And it feels even better when I can do it in a way where I don't see something like this or safety blankets like this. Because restrictions breed creativity, and I believe that humans actually don't find joy out of avoiding suffering. It's actually overcoming suffering that they enjoy. Because when you overcome these challenges and you win that game, oh man, it feels so good. And while cards like this doesn't necessarily guarantee your victory, it does make me feel like I'm more likely to win, and it's not fun if I think that I'm going to win and I do end up winning. Now, to be completely clear, I'm not completely opposed to playing these cards. I don't hate them or anything. I'm more than willing to play them at the right power level, but if I feel like I can get away with not running them, I'm going to lean more towards that route.